We're live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar reiterates India will never give in to nuclear blackmail, says the epicenters of terrorism are no longer immune.
Terrorism epicenters are no longer immune. India's zero tolerance for terrorism is manifest today through its actions.
India's global outreach on Operation Sindoor continues to gain momentum. Multi-party delegations engage in high-level discussions, highlighting India's continued fight against terrorism. In a bid to further secure the steel industry in the United States, Trump announces 50% tariff on steel and aluminium imports. Donald Trump bids farewell to DOGE chief Elon Musk, hails him for bringing colossal change, vows DOGE will remain functional. And in sports, World Boxing mandates gender testing for all athletes. The policy comes after a furore surrounding Olympic women gold medalist Iman Khalif. And moving on to the details, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on Friday asserted that India will never give in to nuclear blackmail. Speaking at a convocation ceremony of foreign students of Parel University in Gujarat's Vadodara, Dr. Jaishankar said those who sponsor, nurture and utilize terrorism should be made to pay a heavy price. He said the barbarity of the killings in Pahalgam terror attack required an exemplary response, which was delivered by destroying terrorist command centers. Stating that India's resolve is stronger than during the 2008 Mumbai terror attacks, Dr. Jaishankar said terrorism epicenters are no longer immune.
But times have changed and our resolve is much stronger now. Terrorism epicenters are no longer immune. India's zero tolerance for terrorism is manifest today through its actions. We will never give in to nuclear blackmail, and whatever decisions have to be taken in India's national interest are taken and will continue to be taken. As we responded to the Pahalgam attack, it was also heartening to witness the understanding from other nations of our right to defend ourselves against terrorism.
Well, as a demonstration of India's steadfast dedication to eradicating terrorism, the 7 multi-party parliamentary delegations are engaged in high-level discussions during their official visits abroad. The all-party delegation, led by Member of Indian Parliament Ravi Shankar Prasad, met the Deputy Speaker of Danish Parliament and the Chairman of the Foreign Policy Committee. The delegation also met a group of former officials, ministers, members of Parliament and diplomats who carry influential voice in Denmark and abroad. During the talks, the delegation emphasized on India's zero tolerance towards terrorism and stance that any act of violence would be responded to befittingly. India's appreciation of Denmark's public stance condemning the Pahalgam terrorist attack and the expression of solidarity with India was also conveyed to the Danish side during the meetings. Well, the all-party parliamentary delegation, led by Member of Parliament Bajyant Panda, began their engagements in Algeria with a briefing by Ambassador Dr. Swati Kulkarni on cordial and friendly ties between India and Algeria. The ambassador highlighted Algeria's approach on Pahalgam terrorist attack, Operation Sindoor and counter-terrorism. During their stay in Algeria, the members of the delegation will focus on cross-border terrorism and highlight India's decisive and resolute stance on terrorism, particularly its fight against Pakistan-sponsored terrorism. Well, the delegation will also emphasize importance of international collaboration on counter-terrorism. On the third day of their visit to Jakarta, the multi-party parliamentary delegation led by Member of Indian Parliament Sanjay Kumar Jha held interactions with the Executive Board of Nahdlatul Ulama, prominent media houses, business and community leaders from Indian diaspora in Indonesia, and met with members of Parliament from Golkar and Nasdem Party. The delegation also briefed the Indonesian media on India's new normal against cross-border attacks, zero tolerance for terrorism, and all-party resolve to stand united in all matters of national interest. The cross-party delegation will visit Malaysia on Saturday on the last leg of their five-nation visit. An all-party delegation led by Member of Indian Parliament Dr. Shrikant Shinde visited Sierra Leone as part of India's diplomatic outreach. The delegation held extensive meetings with key Sierra Leonean dignitaries, including the Speaker of the Parliament, members of Parliament and the Committee on Foreign Affairs, the Deputy Minister of Defence, National Security Coordinator, Acting Foreign Minister and the Vice President of Sierra Leone. In a stronger show of solidarity, the Parliament of Sierra Leone condemned the terrorist attack at Pahalgam and observed a moment of silence to honour the victims of the attack. The visiting all-party Indian parliamentary delegation led by Member of Parliament held an in-depth and wide-ranging interaction with the Colombian Congress MP, President of the Second Commission of the Chairman of Representatives and President of the Chamber of Representatives, conveying India's firm resolve to combat terrorism in all its forms and manifestations and India's new approach to counter cross-border terrorism. The Colombian side reciprocated their resolve to strengthen bilateral cooperation in counter-terrorism. A multi-party parliamentary delegation led by Member of Indian Parliament Supriya Sule is visiting Ethiopia's capital Addis Ababa on Friday. The delegation started their official engagements with meeting former Prime Minister of Ethiopia Haile Mariam Desalegn. During the three-day visit to Ethiopia, the multi-party delegation will hold meetings and discussions with leadership of Ethiopia and have interaction with wide-ranging stakeholders like media, civil society, academicians and the Indian community. In Latvia, an all-party delegation led by Member of Parliament Kani Mozi met with the State Secretary of Latvia's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Ambassador of Special Task of the Secretariat of the Candidate of Latvia to the UN Security Council and Permanent Representative of Latvia to the UN on Friday. Early on Friday, the delegation held a joint meeting with the Chairperson of the Foreign Affairs Committee and the Friendship Group of Parliamentarians for India. And in a significant stride towards self-reliance, India's defence sector marked a milestone on Friday when Technologies delivered the first center fuselage for the Tejas Mk1A to Hindustan Aeronautics Limited in South Indian city of Hyderabad, advancing India's self-reliance under the Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative. HAL CMD Dr. D.K. Sunil stated this milestone supports the fourth production line for the light combat aircraft, involving over 6,300 Indian vendors, including 2,448 MSMEs, to enhance indigenization and create jobs. The Tejas Mk1A, an upgraded variant, boasts improved avionics and radar systems, strengthening the Indian Air Force. Also at the Pune Defence Expo this month, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh urged the adoption of AI and robotics to meet modern warfare needs, aiming to triple defence exports to $6 billion in 5 years. He also reviewed the IAF's exercise Vayu Veer Vijeta in Jodhpur, commending their precision with assets like the C-295 transport aircraft and Dornier 228, vital for surveillance and transport. Additionally, India signed a $100 million deal with the Philippines for BrahMos supersonic cruise missiles, marking BrahMos Aerospace's first export of this shore-based anti-ship missile with a 290-kilometer range, delivered earlier by IAF's C-17 Globemaster. This deal, signed in New Delhi, highlights India's growing global defence presence. And at the 22nd edition of the Shangri-La Dialogue held at Singapore, India and Brazil bolstered their bilateral ties, focusing on a free, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific. General Anil Chauhan, India's Chief of Defence Staff, and Admiral Aguiar Freire, Brazil's Armed Forces Chief, discussed regional security, maritime freedom and sustainable development. They emphasized a rules-based international order, highlighting shared values and growing convergence on global issues. The meeting, held on Saturday, marks a significant step towards towards a stable and prosperous Indo-Pacific, strengthening the India-Brazil partnership amid rising geopolitical tensions in the region. And European Union's top diplomat Kaja Kallas and Japan's Defense Minister General Nakatani on Saturday urged for greater deterrence against threats to stability in the Indo-Pacific region while attending the Shangri-La Dialogue, Asia's premier security forum in Singapore. The EU's top diplomat emphasized the importance of enforcing the rules-based global order as the Russia-Ukraine conflict, which began in February 2022, continues. Also, Japan's defense minister pointed to the heightening of tensions and the rapidly advancing militarization in the South China Sea as a significant threat to trust between nations in the region. Spending on weapons and research is spiking among some Asian countries as they respond to a darkening security outlook by broadening their outside industrial partnerships while trying to boost their own defense industries, according to a new study by London-based International Institute for Strategic Studies, the organization that runs the Shangri-La Dialogue.
Is the best deterrence for all countries, large and small. The rules-based global order is also the only guarantee for our safety and self-determination. When might replaces right, no border is safe. In the area of major instability, this system is more important than ever. If anything, this is the era that it was built for. But we have to enforce the rules and reinforce them if need.
While also speaking at the plenary session at the Shangri-La Dialogue Summit on Saturday, Dutch Defense Minister Ruben Brekelmans warned that the use of AI in the military is reshaping the battlefield and must be guided by judgment. Brekelmans also commended the US, the UK and France for their willingness to share basic information about their nuclear arsenals and urged Russia and China to do the same.
We also face something even more unpredictable. Technology that is evolving faster than our doctrines, rules and ethics can keep up with. AI is reshaping the battlefield. Algorithms influence when strikes take place, the way of defense and who is making the ultimate call. The right information at the right time is vital for any modern military. But it must be guided by judgment, not just by data. AI is not inherently dangerous, but without moral boundaries, without meaningful human control, it can become a threat unlike anything we have seen so far.
And some weather updates from across India now. The Indian Meteorological Department has forecast heavy to very heavy rainfall over east, west, central and northeast regions of the country during the next 2 to 3 days. Heavy to very heavy rainfall is very likely over sub-Himalayan West Bengal, Sikkim, Assam, Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram and Tripura till Monday. Same rainfall has been estimated for Karnataka, Kerala, Mahe, Konkan and Goa till Sunday. Torrential rain battered several districts in western and southern Assam, triggered by a deep depression over the northwest Bay of Bengal. The State Disaster Management Authority reported waterlogging, traffic disruptions and landslide threats in vulnerable areas, particularly Kamrup and Chachar districts. The Indian Met Department issued red alerts for 5 northeastern states, including Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Meghalaya and Manipur. Meanwhile, Assam Chief Minister Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma announced precautionary measures to ensure public safety. Heavy rains also lashed parts of Kerala, leading to waterlogging and hardship for the residents. The IMD said that strong westerly winds are expected to continue at lower levels of the atmosphere over Kerala and Lakshadweep region for the next 3 days. Kupwara district of North Indian Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir experienced intense rainfall and a sudden hailstorm, causing widespread damage. The storm uprooted trees and brought daily life to a standstill. Meanwhile, the Indian Met Department announced that Delhi recorded its wettest May on record with 188.9 mm of rainfall between May 1st and 30th, which surpassed all previous figures. Notably, the capital saw no heatwave days this month. And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. U.S. Defense Secretary warns China is preparing for military action in Indo-Pacific, urges allies to strengthen defenses. Hyderabad gears up for Miss World 2025 Grand Finale as 108 contestants vie for the crown. Renowned sand artist Doordarshan crafts powerful message on Puri Beach for World No Tobacco Day, urging public to quit tobacco. Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lepakshi Kurana. And moving on, US President Donald Trump on Friday said he planned to increase tariffs on foreign imports on steel and aluminium imports from 25% to 50% starting on Wednesday. The tariffs would apply to millions of tons of steel and aluminium imports from Canada, Brazil, Mexico, South Korea and other countries that has been entering the US duty-free. The announcement is the latest turn in Trump's roller coaster approach to tariffs since re-entering office in January. Speaking at a rally in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Trump said the move would help boost the local steel industry and national supply while decreasing reliance on China. Trump also said that $14 billion would be invested into the area's steel production through a partnership between US Steel and Japan's Nippon Steel.
$25% increase. We're going to bring it from 25% to 50%, the tariffs on steel into the United States of America, which will even further secure the steel industry in the United States. Nobody's going to get around that. So we're bringing it up from 25%. We're doubling it to 50%. But the Nippon investment we're announcing today blows them all away with a record-setting, and this was just heard of, we just came out a little while ago, $14 billion commitment to the future of this company. That is the single largest investment. That's the single largest investment of any kind in any industry.
Meanwhile, Canada posted stronger than expected 2.2% GDP growth in Q1 2025, fueled by Russian exports ahead of US tariffs. However, underlying economic data shows sign of strain. The surge came as businesses raced to ship goods before tariffs from US President Trump's trade war took effect, particularly targeting autos, steel and aluminium. Analysts warned that despite headline growth, domestic demand is faltering, household spending fell 0.3% and manufacturing job losses are mounting. With Canada sending 75% of exports to the US, the protectionist measures have hit hard. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney now faces mounting pressure to revitalize key industries. The Bank of Canada is expected to hold rates steady next week, but may cut later in 2025 to bolster growth amid rising uncertainty. And US President Donald Trump and Tesla CEO Elon Musk made joint comments in the Oval Office on the tech billionaire's final day at the White House. During a farewell event in the Oval Office, Trump lauded Musk's efforts to cut federal spending as head of the Department of Government Efficiency. Trump said on Friday that billionaire Elon Musk will remain a close advisor. This farewell comes just a day after Musk said he was disappointed with Trump's budget bill, which includes multi-trillion-dollar tax breaks and a boost to defense spending. That bill still needs to pass the Senate. Musk said he intends to devote most of his energy to his business empire and will continue to serve as a Trump advisor.
This is not the end of DOGE, but really the beginning. My time as a special government employee necessarily had to end. It was a limited time thing. It's 134 days, I believe, which ends in a few days. So that, it comes with a time limit. And, but the DOGE team will only grow stronger over time. The DOGE influence will only grow stronger. So I think the DOGE team is doing an incredible job. They're going to continue doing an incredible job, and I'll continue to be visiting here and be a friend and advisor to the president.
Well, the U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth warned that China is credibly preparing to use military force to shift the Indo-Pacific balance of power, speaking at the Shangri-La Dialogue in Singapore. He accused Beijing of rehearsing a Taiwan invasion and militarizing the South China Sea, urging regional allies to bolster defenses. The warning comes amid rising U.S.-China tensions over trade, AI and security, with Trump recently accusing China of violating a tariff deal. Hegseth reaffirmed U.S. commitment to Asia as its priority theater and urged allies like Japan and the Philippines to increase military spending. Beijing, which claims nearly all of the South China Sea, sent lower-level officials to the summit. Meanwhile, Chinese forces conducted patrols around the disputed Scarborough Shoal.
China has demonstrated that it wants to fundamentally alter the region's status quo. It has to be clear to all that Beijing is credibly preparing to potentially use military force to alter the balance of power in the Indo-Pacific. We know, it's public, that Xi has ordered his military to be capable of invading Taiwan by 2027. The PLA is building the military needed to do it, training for it every day, and rehearsing for the real deal. Our defense spending must reflect the dangers and threats that we face today. Because deterrence doesn't come on the cheap.
But moving on, the Colombo High Court has sentenced Sri Lanka's former Sports Minister Mahindananda Alutgamage to 20 years and former Sethosa chairman Nalin Fernando to 25 years of rigorous imprisonment in a high-profile corruption case. The two were found guilty of misusing public funds by irregularly importing thousands of carom and checkers boards ahead of the 2015 presidential election. The pair authorized the purchase of carom boards and checkers boards through the state-run Sethosa retail chain, causing a loss of approximately $175,000 to the government. Prosecutors representing the Bribery Commission argued the move was a calculated abuse of power to gain political advantage. The Bribery Commission filed the case in 2019. In its ruling, the court stressed the importance of deterring corruption, especially during elections, and upholding accountability in public office. And all eyes are in Hyderabad as the much-anticipated Miss World 2025 contest will culminate in a grand finale in South Indian city on Saturday evening. A total of 108 contestants have taken part in a series of events, including cultural, charity and various challenges for the past 1 month in Telangana. From each of the 4 continent groups, 10 contestants will be shortlisted to quarter-finals, where 40 top contestants will compete. Meanwhile, 4 more contestants secured their place in the top 40 in the Multimedia Challenge. With this, total number of fast-tracked finalists rose to 16. The remaining 24 contestants will be shortlisted by the jury today. Initially top 5 and then 2 from each continent will be narrowed down, and only 4 contestants will face a finale question before the new Miss World is crowned by the outgoing Queen, Kristina Sixkova of the Czech Republic. And on to some sports news. The World Boxing announced on Friday that it will require all athletes over 18 to undergo mandatory gender testing before participating in its competitions. World Boxing further added that Paris Olympic women welterweight champion Emaine Kelly will not be allowed to compete until she undergoes the test. World Boxing will run the boxing competitions in the 2028 Olympic after being granted provisional recognition by the IOC. The governing body said it aims to deliver a competitive level playing field for men and women. All athletes over the age of 18 will have to undertake a PCR genetic test to detect the presence of the Y chromosome, which indicates the biological sex. And Indian Army's Naib Subedar Gulveer Singh clinched 2 gold medals in the 10,000 meter and 5,000 meter event at the 26th Asian Athletic Championship 2025 in Korea. The Indian Army once again showcased its remarkable sporting excellence, delivering a stellar performance that has made the nation immensely proud. Naib Subedar Gulveer Singh showcased his exceptional endurance and skill. In a remarkable feat, he also shattered the previous Asian record in the 5,000-meter category, solidifying his place among the continent's elite athletes. And World No Tobacco Day is being observed across the globe to raise awareness about the ill effects of tobacco consumption and promote a tobacco-free world, with control measures encouraging its consumers to quit. More in this report.
Every year on May 31st, the world comes together to observe World No Tobacco Day, a global call to action against the dangers of tobacco. This year's theme is Unmasking the Appeal, exposing industry tactics on tobacco and nicotine products. Shines a spotlight on the deceptive strategies of the tobacco industry. The objective of this day is to educate people about the dangers of tobacco use and encourage them to quit. The day aims to raise awareness about the dangers of tobacco and diseases like cancer, heart ailments, stroke, and lung disorders. It especially sends a strong message to youth and children to stay away from tobacco. Each year, more than 8 million people die due to tobacco-related causes worldwide, from lung and throat cancers to fertility issues and respiratory distress. Its impact is devastating for both men and women. It can even lead to early death. Health experts warn that tobacco is a silent killer, linked to at least 10 types of cancers, with oral cancer being a prominent threat. The World Health Organization initiated this day in 1987 to curb diseases and deaths caused by tobacco use. The first World No Tobacco Day was observed globally on May 31st, 1988. Since then, the day has been marked annually across the world. The message is loud and clear. Awareness is our strongest weapon. By spreading the truth, we can save lives and build a healthier tomorrow. Bureau Report, DD India.
All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.